Takes us to our talk of the tape and another moment of truth for the mega caps as Alphabet gets ready to report. Let's bring in our panel. Big technology founder and CNBC contributor Alex Kantrowitz, Wealth Enhancement Group's Ayako Yoshioka, and our own Deirdre Bosa. It's good to have all of you here. Deirdre, just set it up for us on Alphabet. What are we looking for, and why is the street getting optimistic?
So Alphabet is such a noisy print, right? Because you've got the bread and butter, which is, of course, the core search advertising business, but they're trying to turn this massive ship and really gain credibility in AI. And I mean, all the tools are there. It has the technical talent, it has the technology breakthroughs, it has the distribution, but people just haven't adopted it in the same way as a ChatGPT and now even a DeepSeek. So Sundar Pichai, the CEO, has said that this year he wants to get 500 million people using Gemini, the Gemini app, which is its chatbot. So really, this is kind of like a prove-it year for Google. If you think that AI is the most important race, they have to continue to stay ahead in terms of the technology, but they also have to get users to adopt it. CapEx is also going to be very interesting, right? In a post-DeepSeek world, you saw Meta and Microsoft. They're not scaling back at all. I don't expect Alphabet to either, because essentially the stakes have just been risen. They have to keep making these technological breakthroughs, but also get credit for it, not only from developers, but from users also.
So, Alex, where are they in the technological breakthroughs and the AI race? You were telling me that they're ahead of what I think many people believe.
Yeah, I just think that they're very well positioned. So first of all, you look at where the risks have been, that's in search. In search advertising, they're doing well. They're going to be up double digits in the quarter. So the big worry about them losing the lead, that seems to have moved away. Then when it comes to the technology, the AI technology that everybody's talking about, we already know that cloud is expected to go up 30% over the quarter. So that's huge for them. But if you break it down one level deeper, you have to think about the fact that they are playing in the model space with Gemini. They're playing in the application space with their chatbot. They have data center with Google Cloud, and they also have infrastructure with their own chips. So in the four buckets where you can really make money in AI, Google is playing. And I think they were written off last year because they had a couple of really bad releases. But I think they've showed now that with a little bit of culture change and a little bit of direction, that they can be the best positioned player in the entire AI game, and I think it's really heading that way for them right now.
Bank of America sees upside on the ad business after Meta's fourth quarter beat, and e-commerce vertical commentary is positive read-through for the Google results. I know you own a lot of the Mag 7 names. Where are you on Alphabet?
Sure. So we still own Alphabet, and we continue to like it. It has a really good valuation, and we do like a lot of the long-term prospects for Alphabet, including things like Waymo and, driverless cars. And so we continue to like the name, and search revenue, I think, continues to be strong. And I think it's really just about the infrastructure of Alphabet and making sure that it's right set for the future and for AI. So I think they've been making a lot of changes there, and we'll look to see any additional commentary related to that on the call.
Some of these firms, Guggenheim, I see, raising 2025 CapEx and expense growth forecasts. And I wonder, Aya, if investors are going to be sort of as forgiving with the big spending in the wake of the DeepSeek moment.
Sure. We saw that with both Microsoft and Meta. So Microsoft was not necessarily forgiven for their CapEx spend, but they had telegraphed that $80 billion spend for some time. And then with Meta, they continue to believe they are going to continue to spend 60 to 65 billion in 2025. And they saw the optimization of AI within their own platform really bring to fruition some of that monetization. And that's what we need to see out of Alphabet as well.
Alex, talk about some of what they've got going on, because as Deirdre said, adoption is the key. So you and I were talking about some of the examples in biotech and the health space that they're working on that people aren't necessarily aware of. What can you tell us?
Right. So there's two big things that's happened here. First of all, you look at Google products, and all these little AI implementations are starting to show up in Google products all over the place. Now, they have their own standalone things like Notebook LM, where you could drop a bunch of articles in, and then it will turn it into a podcast narrated by two AI hosts, which are a little bit too freaky for me because they're so real sounding, and it sort of is not going to put me out of business. They also have their own deep research thing that will generate research reports for you. And this year, they're going to move into agents. And we know that agents are really valuable in email, for instance, or in calendar. Well, we all use Gmail. We use Google Calendar. for the most part. And that's the place where you're going to see agentic stuff really take hold. Now, the last thing that you mentioned is in bioscience. This company is far ahead of everybody else in AI being applied to bioscience. We know that they just won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for AlphaFold last year, and that's not where they want to end. So they've decoded proteins. Now they're going to work on trying to build a virtual cell. It's a few years out, but if they can build a virtual cell through AI, you might see drug companies paying to use the technology to test medication before they make it into the wet lab. At least that's what Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis told me when I was in London speaking with him earlier this year. And so there's so much potential, both in the product today, but also in these big bets that they have going on in the future. And that's why I think Google is just so well positioned.
An AI cell, like a human cell, you're talking about, to test out meds.
So right now, if you're going to try to test drugs, you take a lot of different opportunities to try to put it into cells in the wet lab, right? So you're trying to put it into cells that are living. Could you imagine, and this is, of course, their moonshot, and maybe it's just a talk track, but hey, they just decoded protein. Could you imagine being able to test that in AI? If you're able to do that, and again, a couple of years down the road, that is a game changer for the drug development industry, and we know that's a big industry. So if they get that right, and maybe there's just a 10% chance that they can get that right, or 20%, then that's a very, very big business for Google moving forward.